Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we've got a story that cuts right to the heart of South African politics. The African National Congress, the party that has been in power since 1994, is once again cracking the whip on its members. This time, the ANC is reasserting what it calls strict communication discipline. In plain terms, they're saying, stop freelancing on Twitter, stop contradicting one another on live TV, and stop running to the press with juicy soundbites. From now on, the ANC wants one message, one voice, and one official spokesperson. The party issued a strongly worded statement reminding everyone of its 2018 National Executive Committee Communications Protocol. According to this framework, President Cyril Ramaphosa is the official face of policy, Secretary-General Michael Mbalula is the chief spokesperson, and the National Spokesperson's Office is the only channel allowed to speak to the media. That's it. Anyone else who wants to weigh in on coalition talks, state policy, or party drama? Sorry, the microphone is no longer yours. And the ANC didn't mince its words. They said any form of public contradiction, unauthorized briefings, or reckless social media behavior will not be considered freedom of expression. Instead, it will be seen as outright defiance. And in ANC language, defiance is about as serious as it gets. They stressed that revolutionary discipline remains the lifeblood of unity. Without it, they said, the ANC cannot lead society effectively. Now, let's be honest. If you followed South African politics for even a short while, you know this is easier said than done. The ANC has spent the past few years sounding less like a choir and more like a noisy debate club. On one day, a senior leader says the ANC will never work with the EFF. The next day, someone else suggests coalition talks are on the table. One minister hints at increasing VAT, another denies it within hours. It's chaotic, it confuses the public, and it gives opposition parties endless ammunition. That's the problem this new reaffirmation is supposed to fix. But there's a twist. The ANC didn't spell out exactly what punishments are in store for those who break the rules. They simply warn that serious consequences will follow. Analysts say that could mean formal disciplinary hearings, suspensions, or even expulsions if things get really heated. Imagine losing your political career because you couldn't resist subtweeting your comrades. That's the level of seriousness we're dealing with here. Political analyst Sandile Swana explained it neatly. He told Times Live that the move is about tightening control ahead of the 2026 local government elections. Mixed messages weaken the ANC's brand, he said, and they make it easier for the opposition to attack. And he's absolutely right. If the ANC looks confused, voters lose confidence. If the ANC looks divided, smaller parties like the DA, EFF, and MK party can swoop in and say, see. They can't even agree with themselves. But here's where the story gets more entertaining. While the ANC is putting its foot down, the reality is that its internal divisions are as clear as daylight. You've got pro-Ramaphosa loyalists on one side, Zuma-aligned veterans on another, and a whole crop of ambitious younger members who see themselves as the future. With all these factions, it's no surprise that Twitter becomes the battleground of choice. It's quick, it's public, and it's dramatic. That's exactly why the ANC leadership wants to take that tool away. Of course, the big question is whether they can enforce it. Because history tells us the ANC is not short of rebels. Remember those leaked letters, fiery press conferences, and off-the-cuff speeches that end up on the evening news? Those are not accidents. They are part of the culture. Telling everyone to keep quiet is like telling South Africans not to complain about load shedding. It sounds good in theory, but in practice, good luck. Generational politics makes this even trickier. Younger ANC members are digital natives. They live online, and they see social media as part of political life. For them, Being told to wait for a press release from Luthuli House feels old-fashioned. But for the ANC's older guard, discipline is non-negotiable. To them, a single rogue tweet can undo months of careful political positioning. It's a clash between 21st century communication and 20th century party discipline. And the irony is hard to ignore. This is the same ANC that once thrived on robust internal debates and multiple voices during the liberation struggle. Dissent and discussion were part of its identity. Today, the same party is warning its members that if they speak out of turn, they risk punishment. Some will say that shows just how far the ANC has drifted from its activist roots. Others will argue that governance requires a different kind of discipline. But whichever way you look at it, the contrast is striking. It also highlights just how nervous the ANC is about perception. With declining support, the growing reality of coalition politics, and opposition parties breathing down its neck, the ANC knows it cannot afford public drama. Even small contradictions become headline news. Even a poorly thought-out tweet can trend for hours and shape the national conversation. And that's why the party is trying to clamp down now, before the 2026 elections turn into a communications free-for-all. Let's inject a bit of humor here. Picture the ANC's WhatsApp group after this announcement. Someone says, "Good morning, comrades." And another member immediately replies, "Sorry, only the spokesperson is authorized to greet." That's how extreme the rules are starting to sound. But beneath the jokes is a serious point. The ANC is fighting for political survival, and survival requires unity, or at least the appearance of it. The real test is still ahead. Will outspoken members really stay silent? Or will we continue to see fiery speeches, viral clips, and factional jabs disguised as policy commentary? If history is anything to go by, this won't be the last time we hear ANC leaders contradicting one another in public. The question is whether the leadership is prepared to follow through with harsh punishments, even against senior figures. Because if they back down, the reaffirmation becomes just another statement that no one takes seriously. And that wraps up today's deep dive into the ANC's crackdown on communication discipline. The party has drawn a line in the sand, but whether it can enforce it is another story. What do you think? Can the ANC really silence its outspoken members, or are we destined for more public spats and Twitter wars despite the threats of discipline? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep unpacking South African politics in a way that's informative but also a little entertaining. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.